Here we have the main reason that I intend to trade some fancy guppies. I simply don't have the tank space to continue to breed them, so I'm going to have to get rid of some. I want to hold on to the females that I purchased and a select few that might make good candidates for select breeding. But the trouble is I'm going to have far more females than males, and I can only trade them as pairs. So I will come up with as many males as I can to get rid of as many of the females as possible and try to select breed the best that I can come up with. This is the guppy fry tank. I'm removing juveniles as I can distinguish the gender, so I will have plenty of guppies to replace the ones that I sell off. The Colombian Tetra breeding project is going well. There are over 20 fry in this tank. I did a water change in the 120 gallon today and added that water to this tank. I'm not sure at what point these juveniles will be devouring hatchlings that I add to the tank, but in either case they'll probably stand a better chance of survival in this tank than they would in the 120, as I add brine shrimp nupli to this tank twice a day. All the guppies in this tank are male to the best of my knowledge. Occasionally I make a mistake, but I generally am able to identify females before they get much bigger and before the males pay much attention to them. Usually male guppies go after large, fat females, so a young one won't be harassed very much before I notice her and remove her to the female guppy tank. But how many male guppies in this tank are at the right stage to be sold? Well, that's a very good question. So, I'm scheduled to trade some fancy guppies to my favorite pet store in a couple of weeks, and I estimated 25 pair, but until I actually catch them, I'm not actually going to be able to count them. So I said approximately 25 pair. I was hoping that the true Siamese algae-eaters would remove the algae from the leaves of this Anubias, but they don't seem to be paying it much attention. This Java fern's doing alright. Down here I have the Java moss attached to this driftwood decoration. It looks pretty good. There's the hide where the South American bumblebee catfish resides most of the time. That's probably the nicest piece of driftwood I have. I really like it. I tied this Anubias to the other side of this piece of driftwood where it would get more light. And this Anubias is the one I've had the longest. And it continues to put out new leaves. I think it looks very nice, although in retrospect I probably should have put it on a bigger piece of driftwood. I put it on this old piece that's practically worn out. I've had this Java fern for the longest. It's continuing to look very nice on this piece of driftwood I've probably had for 20 years. So, lots and lots of guppies at various ages. I won't sell the ones that are older, and I'll just let them live out their lives here, like those two there. Those three, in fact. Too old to be sold. I want to hang on to my black mollies. I have one male so far, which I removed to the 120-gallon tank so that he would not inseminate his siblings, mother, or aunt. Not interested in any more black mollies at this point. And I certainly want to avoid inbreeding. But overall, I think it's a fairly nice tank. Decorations look nice.